So here we are at the end of a bit of a long journey in our videos. We're at the end of our CycleMento or Building a Product series. And since we're at the end, let's just go ahead and do a recap of everything that we've done. If you'll remember, the goal of this series was to take you from step one of taking an idea, looking at different components, and then building up an app around it. If you've watched the videos, you've noticed we've not really done a lot with the UI because it's all fairly subjective and basic. Instead, what we did is we focused on the core components in the back-end code. Specifically, we started off with just having a home page and building out an authentication system. We did it from scratch in a sense. We used the Django authentication system that's built in, but we did a little customization with class-based views, and we allowed people to log in, log out, change password, reset password in case they forgot, all the basic things. Then we moved on and we did a dashboard system. And in that dashboard, we created it where you can have an activity feed of all the activities that we pulled in from Strava. And then you can also add maintenance. We did the activity feeds by looking at how to pull in data from a third-party website, in this case Strava, and save that off to your database, which means we had to set up a celery queue. And we did that in a different video, but we went ahead and created the delayed tasks that are going to run as a periodic task. So then we set it so that it pulls in data every single day. The interesting thing about that was being able to, since we had celery, change the site in different ways so that we pushed off deferred tasks to be deferred and did tasks that needed to be in the request response lifecycle, and we discussed that a little bit in the video and different strategies around that. The next thing we did is we created from scratch the maintenance app, and the maintenance app let us set a model forms with custom implementation of that, and really customize how we're going to experience adding in maintenance, and then again pulling that data out, and then it doing a lot of stuff for you. In a lot of videos in the past and a lot of tutorials all over the internet, people don't really go into customizing forms so that it takes care of a lot of the grunt work for you or is personalized to the specific user. You're kind of left up to your own devices on figuring that out. So in the maintenance app portion of this series, we discussed how to do that so that everything went smoothly. We also discussed good object-oriented programming with our models so that everything worked well, and went over abstract model classes so that we can do easy inheritance. And then finally, if you look at it from a whole view, we basically went from the start of an app of not really having anything to having a conceivably good MVP for a product that actually has all the functionality that you need to be able to record maintenance and pull in all of the data that you have from Strava on riding your bike so that you can see when maintenance happened and be able to record it down so you have a log. The two things that I didn't cover in videos that you can see on the screen is on the sidebar you have the gear, and it just shows the total distance that the bike has gone, and then finally is the distance since the last maintenance that was performed. If you've been following along and coding this out, I recommend you give it a shot yourself. If you haven't and you just want to know how to do it, the gear one, we do the activity distance method, and we just use the existing query set of all activities for that bike. And then for the last maintenance, we just simply use that get distance since last maintenance method that we wrote in one of our previous videos. And that's it. So now you have the sidebar with extra information. The other thing that was not added was a call to our delayed task that pulls in data after a user associates their Strava account with the site. That's simply overriding either the get or the post or whatever actually you want to override in that view that we had where its authorization comes back, and starting our delayed task, which you've seen how to do in previous videos. Other than that, everything else for the most part on the back end was covered. And again, it's all been a fairly simple and fairly basic thing, and it really goes to show you how well Django can be used to build your product quickly and efficiently and get some really good niceties along the way. So with that, join us with our next few videos. We're going to jump into doing some more REST framework stuff and outside of this project. So I hope you'll join us for that. And if this is your first video in this series, I suggest you start from the beginning and watch this series all the way through to get a good understanding of how to build a project with Django.